My name is Sam Otten. With me is Jason Book, and in this video, we're going to be talking about the beginning of The Flash, Season 3 on the CW. So, we've got a couple episodes here from Greg Berlanti and Andrew Kreisberg kicking off Season 3. So, we have Flashpoint, and then Episode 2 was Paradox. So, together here we have Flashpoint Paradox. Barry, kind of trying to figure out whether he's going to repair the timeline yet again. At the end of the last season, he obviously went back, changed the timeline by saving his mom. That led us into the Flashpoint episode where he has his parents, but there are some other repercussions, as you would expect, in the world. And so then he goes and changes some things again. And now in the second episode, we have the paradox where, now he's not sure if this third version is good or not. So he has to grapple with whether to continue to try to change it or have to kind of come to terms to the new version of the universe. So we're back into some Flash stuff, Jason. What did you think about the way they kicked off this season?
Well, I thought the first one was good. The second one, not as much. I'm finding that any show, it doesn't matter how good it is, because you know how much I've loved this show before. When you introduce the time travel element to it, it really can get a little too wrapped up in itself. And it takes some of the kind of the fun out of the show for me. If we see that anything can be undone on this show, then what real drama does what happens from now on really mean when characters are free to go and change things that have happened? That being said, it seems like they're kind of sticking with it and whatnot. But I kind of thought they could have learned the lesson from the first episode, went back, and maybe just had one thing different that really kind of screwed up with the series. But anyways, it is what it is right now. I like I said, they're spending a little too much time on the time travel aspect, but I did like Reverse Flash in the first one. This rival character, we'll see what they do with that. And there's another villain I'm sure we'll talk about soon. But it still does have the classic stuff that we liked in the other seasons going on with kind of a twist to it. So we'll see what they do with that.
Yeah, so you said they're kind of spending too long with the time travel, but the way I would phrase that is that they're playing too much with the time travel.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Because I would have been okay with, and what I was kind of expecting was that, he changed the timeline, so now we're in the Flashpoint universe. And I was thinking that this would play out over like 3 episodes, or maybe in the 4th episode is when he decides, oh no, I need to actually undo this Flashpoint universe.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, just change the timeline once and then, kind of thoroughly examine all the repercussions of that and have it play out, over a couple episodes, and then change the timeline one final time and you're done.
Yeah.
But what they've done here is like all the way in the first episode, they showed us Flashpoint, and I thought they actually did a nice job showing us Flashpoint. Like, I thought they did a cool thing where we see the happy stuff in this universe, and then we gradually meet another character, then we meet Cisco, then we go through and kind of meet the team. And I thought that the pace of that was nice. But then by the end of that first episode, he was already saying, I'm going to go change this back. And I'm like, whoa. I was kind of used to, not that they need to tell the story of the comic book, but I was thinking they would do it more like the comic book where you kind of spend some time and you get like a whole story inside Flashpoint universe. And then you realize I need to change. And then there's kind of this drama of, can you change it back? Something gets in your way and it seems like you're not going to be able to change it back, but then you can change it back.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, don't mess with the timeline so many times, but you could have let it breathe or let it expand out a little bit before you changed it.
Yeah, you're right. That's what I meant, actually. Like, they were spending too much jumping around with it and changing it again and again. I think also the things that the show has done really well is that Barry's learned his lesson through a lot of hard things. It doesn't seem like he's going to learn his lesson if he can go change things and keep changing it and, kind of water down what they've done with it. So, yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that it probably could have been better if they extend a little bit longer. That being said, it's only the second episode, but let's hope they don't throw too many things into it, too many side plots to kind of take away from, what's kind of happened in the first couple episodes.
Yeah, and about Barry's lesson, in the second episode, he meets Jay Garrick. Jay Garrick like kind of interrupts him and pulls him into 1988 or whatever it was.
1998,
98, yeah.
And I did like that part, yeah.
Yeah, I liked that scene, and he does talk to him about, like, this lesson you have to learn is you have to live with mistakes rather than try to undo them.
That's right.
But it's kind of like, that lesson was forced on Barry instead of Barry kind of coming to realize it himself. because Jay Garrick says, time is cracking and you're actually damaging time the more you do this, so please stop. Which is different than just Barry kind of learning personally that he has to stop. Instead, it
Yeah.
was sort of like, no, you need to stop because this is actually threatening the universe.
I'm with you on that. Like I said, I think they're throwing too much in there, and it's not going to give the kind of the premise of the season time to breathe and kind of extend over more episodes. So hopefully they can kind of get back on track with it, because I thought the first episode was a lot stronger than the second episode.
And I thought the first 3/4 of the first episode were really strong, and
Yeah.
then it really threw me for a loop a little bit, kind of a bad loop at the end of the first episode. And then, yeah, the second episode was also like, it's
Yeah.
not, it's not terrible. I mean, I'm still with the show for sure, but yeah, it definitely seems like there's maybe a missed opportunity here at the beginning of season 3. It could have been even better, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're just getting away from what made the show good in the first place, which is balancing, kind of has this adopted family because his dad wasn't there with being a superhero, and then also some cool crime stuff in there too because he's a CSI. That's really what makes the show work. So don't go too far from that, I think.
Yeah, definitely still salvageable. I liked the Cisco stuff that they did with Cisco and Barry.
Yeah.
And Cisco kind of, having this grudge against Barry, but they sort of work it out a little bit towards the end was a nice moment.
Yeah, I didn't mind that either. Like we said on our Supergirl review, he's been a superhero in the other, normal universe of the Flash, but I still don't need to see Vibe in certain episodes. But I did like that moment, though.
Yeah. So let's talk about, we have the rival here who showed up in both of these episodes, kind of as, a small time villain for the purposes of these episodes. We also have this alchemy with him kind of writing on the mirrors and stuff, which at first when the writing started made me think of Mirror Master, who I think is coming in this season somewhere. But right now it's this alchemy thing. So what'd you make of the villains and where that might be headed?
Design wise, the rival is too close to like a jokey version of Zoom or something, or sort of. Yeah, I guess it was Zoom, right? The character was all in black last year, so not that different. What they're doing with him maybe could be cool because it's like the other villain is kind of working with him and manipulating him and things like that. Now this alchemy character, the design looked too much like, I don't know, like Kylo Ren or something like that from Star Wars, but. The Doctor Alchemy, if I'm not mistaken, is a character from the DC Comics, right?
Yeah, yeah. I haven't read any stories, but I've heard of
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
So if they're going to do cool things with that, I'm down with it. But that being said, we've already had like a pretty good storyline last year with the villain all in black and stuff. Wouldn't hurt them to change it up a little bit.
Yeah, I can hear you that on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see where they go with that. I think we'll be able to tell more pretty soon. And we do have some ratings numbers for The Flash kicking things off. So season 3 premiere was actually about a half million viewers lower than last year. So it went from 3.58 million on the premiere of season 2 to 3.17 million in the premiere of season 3. So there's a drop. But again, I think a lot of that drop might have been people going to the CW app, which is pretty good.
Right.
And just going to a streaming service of some sort, although it's not on Hulu anymore, but they might be getting it on iTunes and just buying the episode and watching it there. So as more people stream like that, I think you are going to see a dip in the live, ratings.
Yeah, that probably will happen. And I'm sure they'll get back on track. I did like the Jay Garrick stuff, actually. I know that scene you're saying you wish he had learned the lesson himself kind of thing, but I like that he is the Flash somehow, even though his dad is gone in the other universe. And I don't know, like the more stories when they do things from the comics and throw in that version of the Flash where they have a team up, those are always kind of fun to me. I like those retro kind of things.
Yeah, I did actually like that scene overall, and I liked seeing Jay Garrick like that.
Yeah.
The second episode, which we said we weren't as thrilled with as the first, or not as good as like maybe the last couple seasons, that second episode, Paradox, was actually the lowest rated Flash episode ever, which is not a great sign. You don't want to be trending that way. I think they can still recover it, and maybe actually after the election's done, more people will be going back to their shows instead of being distracted by political stuff. But so hopefully that's either just people streaming it instead of watching it live, or just a temporary blip.
Yeah, like I said, I think they can get back on track and, getting back to what the show does well. There's no reason they can't retool it. It doesn't have to have more characters and more villains and everything like that. So hopefully they'll get things going the way it should go.
Yeah, and if it doesn't recover on its own, we'll get the crossover with the other shows. That should boost some ratings, and then they can just try to keep those ratings from there onward.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool. So that's one of our favorite shows on TV right now, The Flash. So we'll see where it is headed here in season 3.
Sounds good. I'll always be watching.